I'm going to show you or work on making a canvas and two different levels so that we can look at how to make a canvas with a button that would load another level. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save, I'm just in a default project here, I'm just going to save the project or save the scene as a, I'm going to call this scene the game. Okay, that's going to be our game scene, so it's getting saved in my project here in the assets, so I'm going to save that. So now I have a scene called game, and it's just this blank scene. Then I'm going to make a new scene, and I'm going to call this scene, I'm going to file save scene, and I'm going to call this one welcome screen. Okay. So save. So now we're working on the welcome screen, and you can always check to see which scene you're in because it says so over here. So we're working on the welcome screen, and we are going to add a canvas. So a canvas is, it's the first thing that shows in front of your game. And we are just going to go under hierarchy, and we're going to say create. And then we're just going to go ahead and under UI, I'm just going to say text. Now this text, once it gets created, is going to come in on a canvas. So from here in scene view, you can't see your text, but if you go over to game view, you can see it. So this is what your players are going to see when they're in your game. So let's just have this text be like a welcome to the game text. So I'm going to rename this text to welcome text. And then over here, I'm going to click on the text, and over here I'm going to go into inspector. And when I'm in inspector, I can change the text here for the welcome text, and that's going to change what's actually written for the text. So I am going to change this to welcome to the swim to entrance island, because that's what I'm going to call my, I don't know where I am, island. That's what I'm going to call my game. So you're going to see straight off that my text is not showing everything that I'm typing, and that is always something I need to fix. Over here on the right, you can see horizontal overflow is wrap. We change that to overflow, and now everything overflows, and I do the same thing with vertical overflow. Okay, so now actually this text, I would like it to be up at the top, so I am going to change, oopsies, I'm going to change this so that it's underneath, and I'm going to make it centered, and I'm going to make it white, and I'm going to make it 24, 48, yeah, I'm going to make it 48. So that's fine. So then I just want to change the location, which I can do up here, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to hold down Alt and Shift and click this one, which centers it, and then I just want to move it up a little bit. So for Y, I'm going to put in 30, no, I'm going to put in 300, no, I'm going to put in 100. 150. Oopsies, come here, 150. Okay, that's how I want it. Okay, so now that we have our welcome text here all done, we're going to go ahead and add an image to this canvas. So I am just going to click on my canvas and say create UI image. And that just gives us an image. I am now going to add an image into my assets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my Finder and grab my image that I want and drop it in. And there it is. So now this image has come in as a default texture type, But what I actually need to do is I need to change it into a sprite in order for it to be able to be attached to this image. So apply, unapplied, okay, good. So now when I click on image here and I can see none, that's where I'm going to dump mine. But before I do that, I'm just going to make the image to be the size that I want it to be. And so I think I'm going to try 300. No. And then, so I've got the image, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my sprite and drop it in. So there it is. Now you can see that we have a problem, which is that our image is now covering up our text, but that is easy to fix because we can just click on image and put it behind the text here. So the objects appear in the order in which they are listed. So now we can see that I need to move my text up, so I'm just going to go to my text and make it 100, whoa, 200. There. Welcome to the Swim to Entrance Island. Boom. So now we have an image and we have welcome text. And the next thing we need is a start game button. So we can go to create, UI, and button. And this will just give us a button that says button, and we can first play with the placement. I think I'll put it over here. So I'm going to go here and try Alt Shift click. Okay. And then I'm going to say for Z, oh no, that's X. For X, minus 250. Ah, okay. So there's the button. And then actually I think I'm going to bring it down on the Y. And I'm going to bring it down minus 50. Thank you. Okay. So there's our button. So now to change the text on the button, there's actually a text object inside the button. So if you click on button, you can see your text object. And so we're just clicking on that, and here it says button. So we can say start swim. Yeah. And we could change the colors and do stuff like that, but I think we're okay for there. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to add script and attach it to the button, because the button has over here an option to add an on click. So we want it to be on click, this will happen. Oh, and one nice thing about buttons, if we have a normal color, we can also have a highlighted color. And so maybe we could make the highlighted color kind of like that. And so then if we just go test it in game, when you highlight, it turns pink, like the sunset. So now, and you can have a pressed colored other things. So the next thing that we need to do is do our script. So I'm just going to go out and grab some script. So in order to add a new script, we're going to go over to the project panel and we'll say create C# script. And we are going to call it button script. And notice I'm using camel case linking, so I just press enter, and that's going to create my script. Now to edit the script, I'll just double click it. Here it is. So this is the default script right here, and I have put the script into my clipboard, so I'm just going to highlight all of the script and press Command V. So there are two things that we've needed to add here in terms of the libraries that we're using. One thing that we're using is Unity UI, and the other thing that we're using is Unity Scene Management. Okay, and then here you can see button script is the name of the script, and these two always need to match. Then you've got void start. We don't need to do anything on start. We need to make public void start game, which is my words, and then string level name. And then down here, we're calling up scene manager, which is here, load scene, and then game. This is the name of the level that we would like to load. And then we need to tell it load scene mode is single, so that's what we need to do. So this script will work for making a button open the scene game. So if you had another scene you wanted to open, you would just put a different name in there. So we're going to press Command S to save that. And then we're just going to click back over to our game. And I am going to select my canvas, and I'm going to grab my button script and I'm just going to drag it onto the canvas. Because in order for the button to be able to see that the script exists, it has to be attached to something in the game. So then when I go into my canvas and I click on my button, so the actual button, I have this down here which says on click list is empty. And if I click plus, then I get this down here, and if I click on here, I get a pop-up box over here. Now right now I'm in assets and I want to go over to scene and I want to choose canvas. So now canvas is selected there, and then right here where it says no function, I need to scroll down and my button script is sitting there. And within the button script, I need to find this here where it says start game. Remember I wrote in the script start game. So if I had written end game, that would say end game there. So I just need to select that command that I have in my script. So there I go. And now if we just click back to MonoDevelop, you can see here this public void start game. This is what's going to happen. Scene manager, load scene, game. All right. So I could make another public void here and say public void end game, and I could tell it to open a different scene. Okay, so now let's test our button. So if I click play, and then I press, so I got my hovering, if I press it, oh, I forgot one more step. So you can see the error down here that I'm getting, which is scene game could not be loaded because it has not been added to the build settings. So this is a thing to not forget. So I'm going to click out of play mode, because remember, any change that you make when you're in play mode is just testing. It doesn't actually get applied to your game. So I'm going to click out of play mode, and I am going to go up to do the build settings. So here we go. We're going to build our game. So I'm going to say build settings. And in this case, I'm just choosing PC, Mac, and Linux standalone. The target platform is going to be Mac. And then I click Add Open Scenes, and it's adding in this welcome screen. And I'm just going to go down here, and I am going to File, Save Scenes, and then I'm going to go into Game. There's my game scene, and I'm going to add open scene. So now welcome screen and game are in my build, and then I'm just going to say build. And I need to give it a name, so I'm going to call it Entrance Island. Save. I think. Yes. Thank you. And there's the game. But anyway, we're going to try it over here. So now let's just close this out, and let's just test it in here. So we're going to go to welcome screen. We're going to press play, and we're going to press, once it's started, we're going to press start swim. ta-da, and it loads us into this game scene. So now we have seen how to make a couple scenes, make a splash page, add an image, put in a button, and make the button open another scene, which could be your game scene.